Welcome back to Makeshift Garage. I came down here over the 4th of July weekend to see if I could get these springs in and out, use the rope. So I tried to slip the rope into the piston, bring it up to the top, hold the valves in place, pull it apart, get our new shim in there, which is a 60,000 shim with a brand new spring that's like 360 pounds. I got number 1 done. I got number 2 done. I was doing number 3, and guess what happened? I put the push rod in, right? And I'm thinking to myself, I know I can miss this, because on these 385 series, you can miss them. So I'm putting it in there, and next thing you know, I let it go thinking that it's on top of the lifter, and it wasn't. It fell in the motor. And I almost get the thing back out, and boop, it falls back in, right? So I go back in a second time, and I'm fishing for that push rod, right? And what do I get? I suck the lifter right out of the hole. I got to pull the whole intake off. I got to get this out of the way. I got to get the carburetor off. I got to pull the intake off. And I got to, expose everything so I can pull it back out and finish the job. And I'm going to leave it off until I'm done. I'll lay a rag in there. I won't leave it, but I'll lay a rag in there to catch anything from falling in there. I think that we should have never kept this intake on anyways. This is a dual plane intake, and we have a single plane intake with a high rise. It's a 460 Victor. It goes right through the freaking hood, and that's why the hole's in the hood. Now we got the 530 or 560 lift cam in there, and it can handle it. It can burn it. It can do it. I'm not going to change the carburetor. That's a 750 Holley. I have an 830 racing carburetor. I don't know that it can handle that yet. I don't have the right heads, but eventually I will. But for now, I'm going to leave the 750 on the 460 Victor, and we're going to see how that looks. We're going to see how that runs, and I think it's going to be the right thing to do. I know that it wasn't on purpose, and I know the universe didn't make it happen on purpose, but what I do believe is that the highest good could come out of my mistakes. First things first, let's get rid of the distributor. Oh, what's holding on? What's holding me up? Might as well inspect it while we're here. All right, everything looks pretty good there. I think that should be okay. Maybe I should just rip this crap all out of the way and this way start fresh again. All right, let's get to it. I just need to knock a little bit out. I can't see, is it going in there? Most part. We'll whip off the hose, we'll whip off the housing. This is a little bit of a pain in the neck, but we're going to put the new one on anyway, so it's all good. All righty. Take the whole thing, get it over here. Trying to be as methodical as I can with each piece, because you know how it goes when all of a sudden you're missing a piece. You're like, uh-oh, where did it go? Did it go down in the motor? And she's off. Let's go. Got to be careful taking it off. I want to use it again. I believe it's time to remove the intake. Let's get the bolts out of the way and pop it off. See, it don't take that long. It's only a couple of minutes. It's a little bit of work. It's kind of aggravating, but it's not that bad. The reason we used the dual plane, the reason we put the dual plane back on is because we didn't have the RPM. You could only get up to like 4,500 RPM with the way the motor was, with the cam and all of that. This has all its power in the low end. But what I want to say about the 460 Victor is it has its power up in the high end. From 3,000 to 6,000, that's where it's going to have all its power. Now it's supposed to do it. And with these new springs, I shouldn't get any float up top either, man. I should be able to get it up there. They say 6,900 RPM. I'm not opposed to blowing this motor up and rebuilding it better. If I think I could get the ponies out of it, if I keep pushing it, I'm going to do it. So should we blow it up or what? It should go together pretty quick once I get everything out of the way, man. It should be easy. And I'm going to do everything first. Put all the springs in first. That way, God forbid, anything falls anywhere, I'm on it. There we go. She's loosening. Now let me get the other side, and she should come right off. It's like nerve-wracking, man. I don't want to mess my gaskets up because I got to buy another gasket kit then. Of course, getting this off of here is going to be fun because it gets real hot and forms. Yeah, it looks like it might move. Hold everything. Let's see. You can't always get your way and keep all the gaskets the way you want them. But maybe. There we go. Woo! We got it. This is the reason we took it off. That's why I left it like that. I didn't want to let this go. I hung on to everything. But look, you could miss this and get it jammed in there. Oh, slide right down past everything. I can't believe the push rod. I just can't believe it. I can't believe that's where it was. I got it though. I got it. We got it. We're going to put it together. Now we're going to zip through them all, by the way. We're going to zip through all of these now with everything off. Like I said, I'm going to put a rag in here, keep the dirt out, keep it all clean. I'm going to do all the springs. I'm going to do all the shims. I'm going to get this thing together and button it up. Let's do it. Look at all those rags I got in the rag block. We can't forget them. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4 is done. Now I'm working on 5 and 6. And I'm using the rope. The rope, listen, I can't even get the other thing in there, man. This is really tight. This is a 385 series that never was in this car. They did have the Talladega, but it didn't have the towers. So they had that at the racetrack. I wish I didn't have the towers. I could do a tower delete, but I'm not going to bother. So anyways, look, I got to feed this in a little tiny bit at a time. Feed it in, feed it in, feed it in. And then once I can't get any more rope in the hole, then I start to click it and turn it over, bring the piston up to the top. And we'll see what happens, man. Hopefully I'll be good. But I'm just going to keep feeding it in there until then. And then I'll click it up and we should be good, man. I'm going to keep going. That could have went down the wrong hole. That could have been real bad. It could have went bad. I'm pretty sure that's as much rope as I can get in the hole right now. And if that's true, let's click it and see what happens. I'll just keep trying to put rope in it, and I'll know where it's at by that. If it starts taking more rope, I'll know she's going down, not up. All right, rope's getting tight. So I'm going to leave it right there. I could tug on the rope, and it feels tight. Now I'll take it off, and if they drop a little bit, that's okay, you know. Then I'll click it again and lift them up. But you don't want to overdo it. You want to take your time. Be careful. Don't be dropping stuff in the motor. I think that's it. I heard it pop. Yes. You gotta have the magnets. Otherwise you lose keepers. Man, you just don't want to forget nothing, you know. Make sure you got your shims. Make sure you got your seals. It's kind of cool. It's fun, you know. Get out in that garage, man. Make shift happen. Don't leave it for tomorrow if you could get it done today. A lot of guys let us know that they started projects because they saw us going at it every day on all these projects. And they're like, you know what? If this old 61-year-old guy can do it, I can do it, you know? And they went out there and started getting projects done. Started doing stuff. And they're sending us pictures and talking to us. And it's kind of fun, man. Oh, it's nice when they just fall in place. Holy mackerel. There we go. Oh, when it falls in place, it just feels so nice. It's almost magical. And then you gotta hold your fingers on it, really. The best thing to do is hold your fingers right on it when they're seated in place. Then you know they don't move. But you gotta give it the rubber hammer test, man. You definitely cannot forget that. Because if it's not in there, you'll hear it pop. It'll pop. They'll throw them right out, man, you know. I use what I got. I reuse bolts. You know, a lot of guys are very, I mean, if I was rebuilding a motor for someone else, I'd buy new stretch bolts. I'd do all that. But when it's my stuff, I just have fun, man. I ain't about spending a ton of money, man. I'm about making it go down the track, have a lot of fun, and keep making it go faster. That's what it's all about. Good deal. Perfect. Seated. Love it. So I take a little white grease. I put it on there. I put it on there so I know I did that one. Because believe it or not, you'll go back to the same bolt again and start taking it off, man. You'll be, oh, wait a minute, I did this one already. Lord have mercy. And then you just drop it in the hole. I called for 23, but you know, these bolts are old. So I'll give it a little extra stretch, you know what I'm saying? Let's get it done. I have to make myself another thread. This one is so beat up just from doing one side. It's so absolutely beat up that even the threads are beat up, man. This thing don't even want to turn anymore. The nuts, it's not working. I'm going to get another thread, cut it, get a new nut on it, and we'll go from there, and I can finish this side off. People spend a lot of money for the right tools, and I get it. But I don't use it like that all the time, you know. I cannot wait to get this vehicle out on the road and give it a little hit, little baby hit out front, and then take it down to the track and just kill it. I want to really see what this thing's got, what it could do. Oh, and by the way, another thing we did was change the pinion angle. Because remember, we were snapping U-joints, man. So we changed the pinion angle, and it was out. So I think I have the right pinion angle now. I actually put it a few degrees down so that when I whack it, it'll come up a few degrees and everything will be perfectly parallel. It should be smooth as a kitten. It'll last though. I'll be able to make it last to do the rest of these springs. But it will start bending immediately. But every now and then, you lose train of thought. So you got to keep a count on everything. So now we're going to count these to see if I make sure I put one on there. I think I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, I put one on because there was 8 for this side. I'm using 25 pounds of foot pressure on these. These are non-adjustable. I think it called for 23. I'm doing 25 because the bolts are used. You know, so I'll make sure I gave it a little bit extra. It's fine. You kind of hold it with your fingers and then back it off until it seats itself a little bit. There you go. Now it's seated and I can smack it with a rubber mallet to make sure she's going to stay. I saw some metal flake. Look at that. Got to be careful. The threads were falling apart on that thing, man. Whew, I sucked them up with the magnet. I want to squirt some, probably some penetrating oil or something in there and blow it all out. Make sure I got no flake, no little metal flake in there. Could be a little bit in there. All you need is a little bit to block up one of these freaking push rods. You won't be getting oil. You'll be like hearing noise and you'll be wondering what happened. Now I get in there and just give it a little tap. If I can hit it. There you go. You hear that? That's a good smack. Perfect, seated, done. Another one down. You know what? They get a little easier as you go, but you still got to go slow, man. You got to be careful. There's just too many areas to make a mistake in. You got to go slow and pay attention. Anyone can do this. You know, my old man used to start me on stuff when I was a kid, but even as a kid, he was making me tear motors apart like this and down the timing chain and everything. The whole motor would be torn apart in a parking lot of the shop that he worked at. And he would just tell me, throw all the bolts here, throw all the nuts there, throw all the bolts there. And he would just fill buckets as I was stripping the thing down. And then he would show me piece by piece how to put it back together. And I was only like 9 when I started doing that kind of stuff. I was even younger when he had me doing other stuff, smaller stuff, you know. So really anybody could do this stuff. It's not exclusive to the professional mechanic. Now don't get me wrong. There's some guys on even TikTok that I watch that I really enjoy while I'm flipping through. I enjoy them because they're really professional. And they'll be dialing motors and whatnot for a long time though. Days and days and days and days, and the motor will still look naked. That ain't my style, man. As far as I'm concerned, I'll have that motor rebuilt like in days, you know, like where they're still miking stuff and, you know, ordering parts and making everything so perfect. It's beautiful watching them do it, but I don't have the patience to watch every little tiny step. I want to know, how do you get it? How do you get it done? Let's do it. A little dab of grease, just like we've been doing everything. Boom, boom, little dab, just like we're going to rebuild it. Pop it in the lifter and let's rock and roll. That's the way I like to do things, man. I like to follow it through. Pull a little dabby, boom. Get that thing on there. It's a little tough back here because I got everything in my way, but that's why I started in the back. I feel like it's the hardest part, you know? Beauty about these is you don't got to adjust the lash. You don't got to play the game with these, man. They're self-adjusted, boom. And I like it like that. It's much easier. There are some guys out there that love to play and tinker and make them things the way they want them, and that's not me. I want to bolt them suckers down, hit them at 25 pounds, and I want to move on, man. I ain't got patience for that other crap. The rope seems to work better for me because I can't really get to 2 spark plugs on both sides, but I can manage to push the rope in and just I get the rope started, and then I just start feeding it in. And it's easier. I mean, I could barely get the spark plugs back in. I don't think I'd ever get that tool. The thing that's slowing me down is that this is just tedious. First of all, the tool, too. The tool is, if I had the right tool, I could go a little bit quicker as well. I can't wait to get the 460 Victor out and knock the dust off it, though. Next 2 in line, let's get them all. Before you know it, we'll be done. It's exciting. Now I'm looking forward to that 460 Victor to be sticking through the hood. I remember when we had it like that, it was kind of beautiful. So when you're doing these and you got to get those keepers out, remember a magnet and you need a hammer. You tighten this nut down and then you get your magnet right up against those keepers and you tap it right here. See, look, see how they popped up a little bit? Now I probably have to loosen it a little more. Oh, there it is. Boom. See that? There's one. But you got to be ready with your magnet. You got to have your magnet ready to catch them. Otherwise, they pop all over. I lost one today, one so far. That's it. I kept all the springs too. Look, I got a bucket full of springs. And you know what? One day I'm going to need one spring, you know, and I'll say, hey, I got springs for a 385 460 big block Ford. Boom. But they're stock. These are not. And that's the big difference. Well, I'm going to call it a day. It's almost 7 o'clock at night. I've been going at this all day, so it was a good 8 hours. I took a few hours off for lunchtime, but I would say I worked a good 8 hours, and I got 4 left to do, which 2 are already, 5 minutes away from being finished. So really, I got 2 more left. If I stayed another hour or 50, 40 minutes, 35 minutes, I could probably get it done, but I need to get home and eat dinner. So let's just go.